Good day, ECO151 students. Welcome to the first session of Microeconomics. This session, we focus on Chapter 1 from your prescribed textbook, discussing what economics is all about. What is economics? As a student, you have to make decisions every day. You have to decide when to do your assignments, which assignments you're going to do first, when you're going to study for a test, or should you just watch a movie. This is essentially what economics is all about, making choices every day. But why do we need to make these choices? As individuals, we have unlimited wants. We want a lot of things, but the means to satisfy these wants are scarce. Therefore, we have to make decisions all the time. Economics is usually divided into two parts, macroeconomics and microeconomics. Microeconomics focus on the individual parts of the economy. It is the decisions and functionings of decision makers, such as individual consumers, households, firms, or other organizations. Whereas macroeconomics is concerned with the economy as a whole. We study the total or aggregate economic behavior. So in the textbook in box 1.1 on page 5, there are some examples on what microeconomics study and what macroeconomics study. Just to mention a few, in microeconomics, we study the price of a single product, whereas in macroeconomics, we study the consumer price index. Another one in microeconomics, we study the decisions of individual consumers, and macroeconomics, we study the combined outcome of all the decisions of all consumers in the country. So you can read through the rest of the examples. The following section focus on scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. Earlier we learned that wants are unlimited, but the means with which the wants can be satisfied are limited. Note that wants are not the same as needs and demands. Wants are human desires for goods and services, where needs are necessities, things that are essential for survival, such as food, water, shelter, and demand has to be backed up by purchasing power. In other words, there is a demand for a good or service only if those who want to purchase it have the necessary means to do so. Because we live in a world of scarcity, and because of scarcity, choices have to be made. Every time a choice is made, opportunity cost is incurred. Opportunity cost is defined as the value to the decision maker of the best alternative that could have been chosen but was not chosen. So the scarce resources that are used to produce goods and services are called factors of production. There are 5 factors of production. We have natural resources or land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and technology. Natural resources consist of all the gifts of nature, such as mineral deposits and water. These natural resources are fixed in supply and their and their availability cannot be increased if we want more of them. Labor can be defined as the exercise of human, mental, and physical effort in the production of goods and services. Capital comprises all manufactured resources, such as machines, tools, and buildings, which are used in the production of other goods and services. Then we have entrepreneurship. The factors of production are combined and organized by people who see the opportunities and are willing to take risks by producing goods in the expectation that they will be sold at a profit. And then lastly, technology. When when new knowledge or inventions is discovered and put into practice, more goods and services can be produced with a given amount of labor, natural resources, capital, and entrepreneurship. An example of technology would be modern computers. Then do note that money is not a factor of production. Goods and services cannot be produced with money. Money is a medium of exchange. So, scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost can be illustrated with the aid of a production possibility curve. Also, the curve is also called a production possibility frontier. Table 1.1 on page 13 represents production possibilities for the Wild Coast community whose main foods are potatoes and fish. If if the community devotes all their available time and resources to fishing, they can produce 5 baskets of fish per working day. On the other hand, if they spend all their production time on gardening, they can produce 100 kilograms of potatoes. It is possible for them to produce either 5 baskets of fish or 100 kilograms of potatoes. But in each case, the entire production of the other good must be sacrificed. If the community want to enjoy a diet which includes fish and potatoes, they have to use some of the resources for fish production and some for potato production. They are then able to produce any of the combinations showed in table 1.1. So these combinations represent the maximum amount which can be produced with all the available resources. If the people in a community decide to produce combination E, they will be able to produce 4 baskets of fish and 40 kilograms of potatoes per day. But in producing these combinations, they have to decide not to produce more fish or more potatoes. In producing 4 baskets of fish, they have to forgo the additional 60 kilograms of potatoes which they could have produced if they used all their resources to grow potatoes. Likewise, in producing 40 kilograms of potatoes, they have to decide to forgo the extra basket of fish they might have produced. So the opportunity cost of producing the 40 kg of potatoes is the basket of fish, and the opportunity cost of producing the 4 baskets of fish is 60 kgs of potatoes that have to be forgone. The community therefore has to choose between more potatoes and less fish, or more fish and less potatoes. Given the available resources, it is impossible to produce more of one good without decreasing the production of the other good. So the different alternatives or combinations can be illustrated graphically in a production possibility curve, or PPC for short. As shown in figure 1.1 on page 14 in your textbook, fish production is measured along the horizontal axis and potato production on the vertical axis. The combinations in the table are represented by points A, B, C, D, E, and F in the diagram. The points are joined to form a curve, and as we move along the production possibility curve from point A to point F, the production of fish increases and the production of potatoes decreases. We can illustrate scarcity. Scarcity is illustrated by the fact that all the points to the right of the curve as point G, such as G, are unattainable. The curve therefore forms a frontier or a boundary between what is possible and what is not possible. Choice is illustrated by the need to choose among the available combinations along the curve. So they have to choose if they're going to produce at point A, at point C, or E, or F. And opportunity cost is illustrated by the fact that by illustrated what we refer to as the negative slope of the curve, which means that more of one good can be obtained only by sacrificing the other good. And point H in the diagram denotes 70 kgs of potatoes and 2 baskets of fish. This combination is obtainable but inefficient. So scarcity is illustrated by point G. At point G, there are no resources, so they can't produce at this point. Therefore, the resources are scarce. Any combination on the curve, they have to choose which combination they're going to produce at. And in point H, it is obtainable but inefficient in the sense that they can produce either more fish or they can produce more of potatoes.